Hello and welcome to Higher Results, where business, workforce, and talent intersect. I'm Melodie Reagan, the CEO of ITI Workforce, and your host. At the core of every single business and organization is talent. And on Higher Results, we're going to be exploring all things talent throughout the life cycle of a worker. That includes everything from hiring and recruiting to development and management through to retirement and even terminations. We're here to give you relevant tips and tools to help you in the development of your workforce as well as your career. Higher Results, I just want you to know, airs every Tuesday at 3 p.m. We stream on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook on Innovation Pavilion as well as Higher Results. In addition, if you happen to miss an episode, come back and find us on IPTV Now, or IP Now TV. I do that all the time, on Innovation Pavilion. In addition, you can visit us on ITI Workforce /Higher Results. We let you know about past episodes, future episodes, and if you have any comments or questions, please share them. It's a very interactive page, and we want to answer any of the questions that you have. Now today, our topic, we're going to be talking about talent availability and changing career paths, something that we're all dealing with, that we've heard a lot in the news. There are some interesting dynamics that are at play. Let's start with the fact that unemployment in the United States is currently at 4.1%. Well, what is 4.1%? Well, in a capitalistic market, when I took economics in college, a healthy market was at 5%. When we go below 5%, it actually becomes an unhealthy market for us to get the right talent. As business owners, we're concerned today about, can we find the right skill set that we need? In addition to that, on Glassdoor, one of the stats that I found interesting recently is the time to hire from when we post has gone up in this last year at 50%. It's taking us 50% longer to fill those jobs. We're also feeling the compression of getting the right talent, getting people up to speed. By the same token, there's this rumor in the market, is college really a good thing? There are people who talk about individuals who are graduating from college not being able to find jobs. Well, I'm going to tell you that's not exactly true, because unemployment for college graduates on a national level is at about 2.5%. However, here's the interesting part about that. Are colleges producing the talent we need in business today? Are they giving us fit for purpose in a skill set so that when somebody gets a job that they can immediately go to work? I am thrilled to introduce our guest today. With us is Stephanie Beck. She is the director of the Colorado Workforce Development Council. Stephanie, welcome.
Thanks, Melody. Thanks for having me.
Can you share with us a little bit about yourself and about the Colorado Workforce Development Council? What do you do?
Sure. Well, I'll start with the council. The council is a governor-appointed, business-led coalition of state agencies and local system partners that all come together and collectively work to integrate workforce development, economic development, education, higher education, to ensure that we are providing the best possible services to students, job seekers, workers, and businesses. So what that means is we're a coalition, a collection of businesses, community organizations, state and local government working together to create Colorado's talent pipeline.
Fantastic. And by the way, one of the things whenever I read about Colorado Workforce Development Council, I always love this. It says that the vision of CWDC is that business has access to a skilled workforce and every Coloradan has access to meaningful employment, resulting in statewide economic vitality. I love that.
I do too.
I want to steal it now. I love it.
Important. It's really important, and it's, your vision's supposed to be aspirational, and it is. And then we all work on what we can actually accomplish, the milestones towards working towards that vision.
What I'm excited about is there are actually resources that as a business owner I can get from government. And we're going to delve into that a little bit today to ensure that we have the appropriate workforce and also for individuals in their career. But before we do, let's jump into that broader topic that I've already laid a bit of landscape for, is What does the future of the U.S. workforce look like, Stephanie?
Sure. So obviously it depends. To look to broadly say the U.S. workforce, different states are different, different regions are different. But broadly, the biggest challenge, I think, is just the reality that our workforce changes faster. Every single day it changes faster than it did. What used to take, our workforce has always changed, but what used to take a decade to change is changing in a year or 6 months now. And so we just can't anticipate what's going to happen with automation and technology and artificial intelligence. And so thinking differently, and we used to be able to think about a career pathway as an occupation that a person planned to do, that they went to school for, and they got trained at, and they became a subject matter expert at, and they invested their entire life in that occupation, or maybe some slight variations of that occupation over their life. And the reality is that just doesn't work anymore. People change jobs often, and a lot of times people want to blame that on the millennials, but that's just not true. The reality is our jobs change. People love to learn, they want to do different things. And so gone are the days that you graduate from college and you do the same job for 20 to 40 years. Our jobs are changing all the time, and we have to learn to adapt to be able to help people be successful at whatever career path or multiple career paths they choose to take through their life. And really it means creating a society of lifelong learners.
That reminds me of a couple of statistics. Of the industrialized nations, the United States, we have the lowest longevity of any nation in terms of jobs.
Yeah.
The other thing is, in a career, which careers are typically at least 30 years, we end up with 3 to 4 careers, and that is growing. So in terms of longevity, and for us to acknowledge, ironically, when I think about my mother's generation, where they grew up in a single company, and that just doesn't happen anymore on both sides. It's like commitments on both sides. So let's talk a little bit, though, when we talk about how jobs are changing and automation. What are some of the things that you see with how jobs are changing and how people are being employed?
Well, I think one of the biggest things, and we talk about this, I'm part of the Colorado STEM Network, which is all of the different businesses and people coming together around science, technology, engineering, and math. And STEM used to be a term that was only used in schools, primarily high schools, about getting kids on science and technology, engineering type pathways to college. And now when we talk about STEM, we're really talking about STEM competencies and STEM literacy that cut across every single occupation, every single type of job. And that's really the reality now, is that even jobs that are entry-level jobs, that are usually a person's first job, require those STEM competencies. You have to be good at using a computer. You have to have good customer service skills. You need to have really good communication skills. People need to be critical thinkers and problem solvers. And more so than ever, it used to be okay for, maybe the top 50% of people that we were hiring into our jobs to really have those math and communications and technology skills. And the reality is every worker needs them now.
Though, I consider it a little bit scary when we classically put everything in a bundle, and it's like STEM we think is more scientific. And it really isn't. I love the way you're describing it. It's about competencies.
Yeah.
To be good with a computer, I don't have to be good with math.
No.
But it's about, can I use the tools? And the other thing that you said that really resonates for me, it's about our ability to communicate, and our ability to work with each other is becoming ever more important.
Critical.
That almost, in terms of competencies, those are what used to be classed as soft skills, but they're soft skills that have become very important. And why? When I move in between teams and I have a job, I have to be able to be proficient rapidly.
Yeah.
Now, when I think about some of the jobs and people, is it that all of my jobs are tools? Am I going to have physical jobs? And when I was growing up, we used to refer to it as blue collar, white collar, exempt, non-exempt, et cetera. And obviously, phrases have changed, but what's kind of happening on the landscape of what are some of the jobs that maybe are hot that people ignore today?
Yeah. Boy, I think there's a misperception about a lot of jobs, and there are really good jobs that require a lot of skills, a lot of competencies, definitely post-secondary education or training, but not necessarily a four-year degree. And that's not to take away from the value of four-year degrees. We absolutely have plenty of jobs that still require a bachelor's degree or higher, but there are a lot of really good jobs that with a high school diploma and post-secondary training, whether that's an apprenticeship or a boot camp, you can get really good quality jobs. And some of those are coding. There are tons of coding jobs that are thousands that are going unfilled every year because people don't have the skill set to be able to do coding. And coding is something that you can learn in a boot camp. You don't have to have a four-year degree to do that. In fact, a lot of people that have liberal arts degrees are going back to IT boot camps and getting their skills in coding so that they can get those coding jobs. And so I think that's one that people talk a lot about, but they don't realize that, when kids are playing computer games, they're doing coding. And you've got kids in second and third grade that are writing code every day. And so it's important, those types of jobs. As well as the other thing we have to remember, I was actually talking to a gentleman in a manufacturing plant who, when he got hired, his job was to do a line of the manufacturing. And then they brought in robots and, the robot arm to do all of the work that he was doing. And there was a big fear that he was gonna lose his job and everybody in the plant were gonna be downsized and sent out. Instead, they took all of I think there were 3 of them that had that job. They took them, trained them to program the robots, trained them to do the maintenance on the robots, trained them to make the adjustments. And then, as the company grew, now those 3 people that were on the original line to do the actual manufacturing, they're each managing 10 robots. So the company over the last 15 years has expanded from 3 lines to 30 lines, and they have the same 3 people doing the work, and they're each making a lot more money in a lot less manual labor job and feeling rewarded. And so, that's just the reality, that there are really great opportunities for people to learn at work, to expand their skills at work, and to take on the technology that's coming and advance in those. The same thing, you think about when you go to the grocery store and you do self-checkout. There's one person there now watching 10 to 12 registers and helping the customers. And isn't it nicer to not have to stand in line and get grumpy and take it out on that, poor clerk at the grocery store because you had to wait for 30 minutes to get through the line? Well, now everybody's getting through faster, and I'll guarantee you that there are not people waiting in a line to get a job as a clerk at a grocery store. Everybody who wants one of those jobs can get one.
Fantastic. You know what? I think about it at Technical. I just had my car in the shop.
Yep.
And even though it is physical, because you still have to work on cars,
right,
it is so automated, where they gave me like this diagnostic readout of my car. Yeah. The other one, manufacturing, hot.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunity, and one of the things that we talk about is sitting at a desk. It's the new smoking, because you get the spread. Manufacturing is hot because you get to stand up. But you know what, this comes to mind for me when I think about how talent is changing, Stephanie? One thing, and you mentioned it earlier, when we would go and we'd learn or get our degrees or go through whatever training, and we thought we were kind of set in a job. Mm-hmm. What is happening, because the world is changing so radically, is you really have to learn how to learn. And talent is changing in that there is no designation. It is always a journey, and you have to change. Like I look at marketing. Marketing got automated out. HR is getting automated out at the fundamental levels. But even though you have new tools, you constantly have to learn. The algorithms on Google change regularly. So what is a search? Or how do we get good digital online presence? Because it's constantly changing. You have to learn. So how is our talent changing with regard to that, and also the demographics of our talent?
Yeah. Well, the reality is, just demographics in general are getting older, and people are working longer, and technology is allowing people to work longer because it is taking a lot of the physical work out of it, and so that's a good thing. I was talking to a gentleman the other day that's 85 years old, super dynamic, amazingly brilliant, and has absolutely no plans to stop working ever. you know,
that would be me. That would be me.
Exactly.
Retirement, what's that for me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Retirement is going and doing a job that's really, really, really fun.
Exactly, exactly.
So I don't know, my job now is really, really, really fun. So I guess that maybe that's in a good description, but I don't want to do it for free.
Yeah. That's right. By the way, a job, and one of the things I always think about with people is, you know, you spend over half your waking time in a job. Yeah. You need to do something that you love. Right. And I always tell employers what they need to understand is a job is actually an identity for a person. It's a pretty serious thing.
It is. What's the first thing you ask people?
Exactly.
You know,
so
who are you, where are you from, and what do you do?
Exactly.
Right?
And it's also how we make our living, how we put a roof over our head. So it's a serious thing, and that's one of the things I always tell my clients. You really need to pay attention to your hiring process because you're making a serious decision, not only for your firm, but for the individual because of the impacts.
Exactly.
So when you think about talent and jobs, what do you think are some of the biggest issues that we're facing today?
You know, it's definitely the skills mismatch. And I do think that we are in with what we've just been talking about, automation and AI and just the changing environment and cultures of work. We're in this strange place right now because we're not there yet. It's coming. It's here. It's not that it's not here, but it's not here at the scale that we expect it to be in 2030. And it's really hard for people to understand. You know, I remember when I was in grade school and we were talking about the year 2000, and we imagined that we would have flying cars. And, you know, well, now a lot of that stuff that we thought was, you know, the Jetsons is starting to happen. We do have self-driving cars. And I don't think flying cars are that far down the road, you know, with droids and everything else that's going on. But we're still in this spot where we need a skilled workforce to do the jobs that exist today. And we need skilled workers, so let's talk about the automated cars. Truck drivers. There is a huge demand for skilled truck drivers.
There is.
And we all desperately want truck drivers to be skilled and know what they're doing and pay attention and keep us all safe on the roads and deliver our products to us. But we also see all of the facts that, you know, by 2030, the majority of those trucks on the roads will probably have self-driving technology. Whether there's still a truck driver in the truck or not, that they'll be using that technology, which is a very different skill set than the skill set that a person's getting when they go get a commercial driver's license now. And so how do we deal with that? How do we make choices about investing our time and money in getting an industry recognized credential to get a job, knowing that that job might not exist 12 years from now? And that's, you know, it's a really challenging time that we're in, and that's just one example. Name almost any job: an accountant, a paralegal, you know, even medical jobs. The jobs themselves will be very, very different 12 years from now than they are now, but we need people to do those jobs today. And we need people that are skilled, and we need employers who are making enough, that are profitable enough that they can pay really well for those jobs. And so it's a challenge. And so with that, you know, you mentioned the low unemployment rate. The reality is that we also have 6 million jobs in the United States that go unfilled every day. And ironically, about 6 million people that are unemployed. Why? You know, it seems like it's easy enough. Just take those 6 million people and match them up with the 6 million jobs. It's a skills mismatch. And it's not something that just exists now. It existed 20 years ago. It existed 50 years ago. Like you said, a healthy economy is 5% unemployment. And so really tapping that untapped talent. The other part of it is one of the things that we do through my council, but also through the broader Talent Found network that we coordinate, is the annual Talent Pipeline Report. In that report, we look at not only that low unemployment rate, but we also look by area of the state of Colorado at the labor participation rate. And that's something that is my big, every year when we publish the report, I have an aha. This is my huge aha this year. We have one area in the state of Colorado that has less than 50% labor participation rate. And so what that means, it's adults between the ages of 25 and 64 who are by choice not in the labor market. So that same community has 2.4% unemployment, and people think that there's no other workers out there. And the reality is 50% of their adult population is choosing not to work. And we have to, I really think we have to ask ourselves why. Why are those folks choosing not to work? And there's some legitimate reasons. Knowing where the geographic area is, there are probably a lot of people who retired early and are living there, you know, doing a gig economy type job, a project-based work that doesn't show up in the labor market. There are, you know, we should never say that we want all adults to be working, because there are families that have the ability to be a one-income household. And if they have that ability and that's the choice they want, then that's wonderful and we need to support that. But I don't believe 50% of the adult population falls into one of those two categories. So what else is it? It's people who have become disenfranchised, that they don't have the skills for the jobs in that local community, or they are working for cash under the table and barely making ends meet. There is, you know, there's a belief that too many people live off of unemployment, so that's why they don't want to get jobs. You know, unemployment only pays for 26 weeks, and that's half a year, 6 months. So that's not a huge amount of the people who are drawing an unemployment check and just choosing not to work. And it also only pays 2/3 of the wage from their previous job, so it isn't a huge amount of money to live on. So where is that untapped talent, and how do we mobilize that untapped talent? And I think it comes back to the skills mismatch. How do we re-engage adults into the labor market by connecting them with information about really good jobs that they can do in their local community or they can do somewhere else via technology and remote working? And how do we give them access to good broadband, good internet access, tools and resources to support them and surround them so that they could work remotely and be successful at working remotely? And then how do we give them the confidence in themselves to know that they can contribute to this new digital economy and get them the skills they need to get those jobs? It's a big challenge. We've been really good at solving other challenges in Colorado, and I think we could figure that one out. But like I said, the aha for me was, wow, we have a lot of adults in Colorado that are not showing up in our labor market. We need to find them and we need to mobilize them.
Fantastic. You know, one of the things, though, I do want to say, I think Colorado is particularly good relative to our workforce and what we're doing. What I would really appreciate is, could you share with us what is the sector partnership program that you have going on? And as a business, how could I get involved?
Great. So next generation sector partnerships are public-private partnerships in local areas or regions defined by industry, in businesses of the same industry, where business leaders come together with their nonprofit and government public partners to work together to solve problems for that industry. And so the reason I say next generation sector partnerships is the term sector partnerships have been around for decades, and it usually meant that workforce and education pulled businesses to the table, had a whole list of questions, got their questions answered, left and went behind a curtain to go make sausage, and then came back and wondered why it wasn't exactly what business said they needed. Next generation sector partnerships evolve from a true partnership where the public partners can help support the businesses in deciding to come together, but the businesses come together because they believe that they can accomplish solutions to the challenges in their industry better together than apart. They have business leadership that chairs the initiative. The businesses, with the public partners listening quietly around the back of the room, the businesses identify the priorities. They prioritize the priorities, and then they decide which things they're willing to sign up for and to lead and to work on. And if at least one or two business people aren't willing to work on those priorities, then it comes down off of the wall of a priority until a business person's willing to lead it and take it on. No longer is it workforce and economic development and education deciding that because some business somewhere along the way said it was important, that therefore it is their work to solve it alone. And so now those businesses that are willing to work with the public partners come up with solutions together to tap into all of the government and nonprofit resources, the business resources, collectively develop a solution and collectively implement it together. So we're very proud of our next generation sector partnerships. They launched in Colorado in 2013 and have now become the national model for sector partnerships. There's a national website with a toolkit that's based off of the work that we and Oregon and Arizona and a few other states were doing with the National Governors Association back in 2013. And now we're really excited because we're digging into what's next after that. Is it, 3.0 or whatever we're going to call it, but how do we also look at bringing statewide trade associations together to do the same thing so that they're solving problems across industry together, better aligning our local sector partnerships with our statewide trade associations so that you're getting the benefit at the local level, but it's bubbling up to the state level, and then also looking for some of our more rural areas where you don't have a critical mass of businesses within one industry, looking at cross sections of issues between industries and having a cross-industry sector partnership. So for example, in the mountains, they're exploring the possibility of an outdoor rec and IT sector partnership because they have a lot of the same issues, and IT could help solve some of the problems that the outdoor rec industry is having. And so they come together, they solve problems around things like supply chain and transportation and technology, but across the board, 100%, each one of them is identifying talent-related challenges and issues and collectively solving those together. It's really exciting and it's fun.
So by the way, along those lines, as a business owner, I never realized all the great resources that we have as a state to help me find talent, post jobs, actually interview, kind of like run people through tests, where you guys help with when I have to train more people, which more of the training burden is coming to me as a business owner, but also the information for individuals looking for careers, how they go about looking for jobs, making themselves marketable, where they get the skills. So I'm going to ask you, for our business owners that are with us today and individuals looking for jobs, where are some great resources that they can go to online?
Well, I'm going to give you the tactical answer, and I'll also give you the more strategy answer. Okay. So tactically, for both individuals and businesses that are either looking for a job or looking for additional education to lead to a job, and businesses that are looking for that skilled talent, really the first place to go is your one-stop workforce center. The one-stops provide business services to help businesses write better job descriptions. They're partnering with Skillful, which is a national initiative to help businesses write skills-based job descriptions. So you're not just defaulting to that degree or that credential, but you're actually explaining exactly what is needed in the job, which broadly opens your talent pool. It really exposes you to a lot more people with the right skill sets instead of just some degree that you're hoping tells you that. And then, so absolutely, look up the workforce centers. Right. If you just Google Colorado Workforce Centers, it'll come up, or go to our website, which I'll give you in a minute, and there'll be a link there. And they do provide all of those business services. They also provide job seeker services, and they can connect job seekers with the additional resources that they need. So if you are a job seeker that's just purely looking for a job and you already have your degree and your education, you just want to explore what's different, they can connect you through Connecting Colorado and get you connected to those jobs. If you need more training, they can help you identify either funds that may be available through them or other training partners. And then they also can help people who need more, maybe assistance with childcare, transportation, or more basic literacy and numeracy training. They can connect to the partners like Adult Basic Education, like Human Services, they're the network to all of those partners to connect people to the resources they need. What we do different in Colorado than I think is done anywhere else in the country. And I was just meeting with a national expert on this topic, and she was blown away and said, you guys are the only one doing this, is that in Colorado we have Talent Found. And Talent Found is a network of all of the partners,
Talent Found.
Of all of the partners, businesses, economic development, workforce development, community-based organizations, all working together to make it easier for individuals and businesses to access the tools and resources that they need. But the key about that is we are able to tap into the people that need more help we are able to give people the resources that they need. We're able to serve small businesses better. We're able to serve businesses better. But it's because we don't approach problems as a different solution for different demographics. It's, you know, a program isn't for that kind of person or that kind of business. Really the programs and tools that we have in Colorado are for all individuals at all skill levels, for all businesses at all talent needs. And by treating them the same and giving them access to the resources the same way, then we're better to leverage what we do have to serve more people and more businesses. And then all those other programs can help wrap them with the specific help and resources they need, whether that customer is a business or an individual. So that's the tactical answer. The high-level answer is coworkforcecouncil.org. coworkforcecouncil.org is our website. On that website, there are tabs for sector partnerships, which will tell you how to launch a sector partnership, how to engage in an existing sector partnership, what they are, why they work. It'll also provide information on industry engagement in general and how as a business person to get more engaged, or how as a public partner, how to engage with industry better. On the Pathways tab, we have information about how to build a career pathway, how to get engaged in career pathways that are being built right now, work-based learning resources. There's hundreds of links to really good work-based learning resources to help businesses understand how to improve the training that they do at work, and why it's important for more businesses to open their doors to work-based learning opportunities to get more people in so they can be exposed to work, they can have learn and earn opportunities, and we can start closing the skills gap. And then the talent pipeline reports there under research, and we even have a glossary. So this is one of my favorite things. Forever, but everyone said, well, the problem is education has its own language, and workforce has its own language, and business has its own language, and none of us know how to talk to each other. So we took on the job of creating a common glossary so that when you say apprenticeship, it means something. It's not some word that one person uses one way and somebody else uses another way. For our Talent Bound network, we all use the same glossary, and I encourage everybody to go get familiar with that glossary. So when you're having a conversation with, if you're a public partner, a business, or if you're a business, an education institution, or a workforce center, you're talking the same language. It's all right there in that glossary, so go look it up.
Fantastic. By the way, Stephanie, I think I'm going to have you back, because I think there is so much here that we can unravel and discuss that is meaningful. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. And then for all of our businesses and all of our professionals and all of the individuals in the workforce that are with us today, if you haven't gone to, what is the website?
coworkforcecouncil.org.
That is the place that you need to go to help you with your career and with your talent pipeline and managing your workforce. I want to thank you for being with us today. I'm Melodie Reagan, the host of Higher Results. Higher Results is where business, workforce, and talent intersect. We air every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. You can find us on Facebook, and that's Innovation Pavilion, and also Facebook, Higher Results. And please do connect with us on i2i workforce/Higher Results. You can get our past episodes. And if you have any comments or questions, please share them. We will be answering them. And give us any ideas for future shows where you have a need. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll see you on the internet.